RadioZero.
It's Radio Zero with Rick and Rose, Friday, September 27th, 2024, in the eye of the hurricane. You need like a... It's windy outside. Did you see it's windy?
Yeah, I did see it's windy.
Some kind of thing.
I didn't feel it. I saw it.
Yeah. Well, I felt it.
We're live streaming on Facebook, on the Radio Zero page and Poster Children page on Friday, every other Friday, 5 p.m. Central. We're on Twitch at PCJCUSA and on the Poster Children YouTube channel. If you don't want to watch the live stream, you can listen to us as a podcast. So you can subscribe to the podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify. What's wrong?
Nothing. I clicked on something and it's just gone.
Is the show not going through or something?
No, I
just
turned something off on my computer.
Oh, okay. God, I thought, okay. But there's you can go to radiozero.us. You can patronize us at patreon.com/radiozero. Thank you to our patrons. Okay, that's it.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Wait, I gotta. Oh, look, we're live.
Good. Okay, so it hasn't.
I don't know.
There wasn't a problem.
Well, something's a problem because I clicked off.
No, it's just when the show and you go, oh no, and then it's like I just assumed it was somebody had already messaged that something was broken.
Oh, now I can see myself. I like these glasses. These are your glasses. Okay. Oh my God, I just got back from work just now, and like I'm not really back from work. Like it's like never ending work. It's like I get up at 4 or 5 or 2 in the morning, and I'm like thinking about all the different things that we can do at work. Like there's so many. I'm like just overstimulated of work. Like there's so many different things, and I have a to-do list, but I'm like afraid to even look at it because it's just constant. Like it's like a fire spigot. I always talk like people say it's like a fire spigot, like sprayed directly at your face.
Is it a doom pile?
No, not at all. It's just like, no, I don't feel doom at all. I'm just like, oh my God. Yeah, that's right. I have doom piles all over my...
Doom stand for?
I don't know. What does it stand for?
Organize only moving?
Oh, is that what that stands for? I didn't even know that.
Something like that.
Oh, wow. I wondered what that was. It's an ADHD thing. I know. Oh my God. But I mean, like, and then like, I'm like... And then we got to wake up at 6 in the morning, to get son number 2 to school by 7 because it was their choice to take 0th hour class. And that hour between 6 and 7 is really like, it's like kind of scrambling to get, like, it's so early that my circadian rhythms don't care. Like my circadian rhythms would be like, there'd be like a difference between like 11 p.m. and 12 or 11 a.m. I think at 12. They'd be like, oh, or 10, like, oh, you really want to get up now or you want to wait till noon? Like that's what it would be. And this is like, like the difference between 6 or 7 is, nothing. So, and then 7 a.m. And so the drive, like at 6:30, like the drive, it's dark now. And it's like, it's just like, you get this feeling like you're doing something good, You know how we always had that thing where like it's Satan's hour after 10 p.m. Why are you still awake? And like it's like, oh, why do you wake up so late? You guys must be lazy, And like now I'm waking up like insanely early and getting to work at 7 and in the morning, even though I'm not supposed to be there till 8 or whatever time, And so, like now I feel like I'm doing Jesus's work.
And to clarify, the kid has to go 0 hour because to do both orchestra and foreign language. So
wow.
Can't
have both of them. You can either
Yeah.
have orchestra or foreign language. But I'm sure he can have all the STEM he wants, right? Anytime he wants it.
Well, no. You can't fill up your whole schedule, no, because I guess it is what, yeah. Does the English count for that? History?
Yeah, and all
Is
the
that in
English
STEM?
you want, English and history you want. And who needs to know about history? Nobody, obviously, because I can't see anything.
Because we obviously don't learn from history.
Yeah, it hasn't been working so far, Anyway, I just want to say that it's like a new experience for me. This whole week I've been aware while I've been driving, like at 6:30 in the morning.
Meaning awake instead of
awake,
like sleep
awake,
driving.
Like wow, wow. Well, you know what it is. It's when we were driving and it was still light out. It was like we're really early, but now it's like it's dark out. Like we're waking up in the dark, and so that's significant.
Yeah.
Like now we're really doing the Lord's work because we're waking up before dawn. We're really good. I was saying to him, it's like, wow, I feel like I'm doing such a good thing by being awake this early.
And when the time change happens, it's going to go, but it'll be lighter again, right?
For a while, probably,
then
yeah. Then it'll, since we do live on the same area, like same latitude as Norway, right? We'll have like 6 hours of sun.
So I updated the operating system on the 9-year-old laptop that we use to stream the show.
That's why you think it's not working.
Well, I panicked because then I tried to open up OBS, the open broadcast software, and it crashed. It didn't work. And then I realized I had to go and I had to download a new... they have specific versions for specific... so it's an Intel Mac with a Monterey. So I've gotten it to the point where Monterey is the last OS that this computer can run. So, but yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to remember what it was running before, but and then, I was like, why did I do this?
Little geek talk for you.
Yeah. And so I had this panic, but right now so OBS looks a little different. And on top of it, there's one area that says webcam, and then there's a speaker with an exclamation point. And I'm not sure what that means. I think it means that we're using the webcam for you, but we're not pulling audio from it. So hopefully y'all can see what's going on in here and everything's working.
None of the two people, well, there's more than two people watching, I guess. But nobody's complained yet. No one said anything yet. Oh, Joe Christman says there's quite a lag on my end. I just updated to iOS 18, and I was going to make a joke. I was going to ask you if you're on OS X now on that laptop. Are you on X yet? OS X?
No. Yeah. No. This is OS 9 still. No, it is. It is. It's what, 2 or 3?
Are you on Windows 3.1.1? That was
Windows.
Yeah, Windows 3.1.1.
No way, man.
Remember that? Was that the first Windows?
DOS. What was it? MS DOS, right? Was before. What was the one before Windows? What was it called? Right, MS DOS, right?
Well, I mean yeah, I think, right? Is that?
Yeah, it wasn't called Windows. Yeah,
DOS.
MS DOS.
DOS.
Yeah, MS DOS, right?
I don't know. I don't
just
know.
DOS?
I don't know.
You just call it DOS?
I think.
Don't you remember that at our job, the flight simulator job, we taunted the guy who was using Windows because we were all hardcore programmers, and even though we had a Mac at home, the Mac was for, doing creative stuff. If you were programming, you're not going to use a graphical user interface.
What were we programming in? Because we were using weren't we using VI? And I was using VI, I thought.
It felt like maybe I was using Emacs. I can't remember.
Yeah, you're probably in
We
Emacs.
had a choice, right?
Yeah, you were probably, yeah.
We could choose. We weren't required to use one or the other. Everybody used their preferred editor.
So it would have been very lightweight, very fast running, not using up a lot of memory. And for those of you who are not computer scientists or geeks, VI and Emacs would have, your screen would have been blank, and you would have had a little blinking cursor. In order to input word, letters and stuff, you would have had to hit I or something to go into insert mode or input mode or something like that. And then you'd type and stuff, and then you'd have to hit I don't know, escape or Control K or something in order to, and then it was like Control X, Control C or something like that in order. I actually have a coffee mug with all the VI commands on it. I have two, and I I've had them for years. Obviously, I've had them for a long time. Gosh, those were the days, weren't they, Rick? How was your work week? How was the rules committee in the Senate? What rules did you pass? What'd you do this week?
We looked at the College of Engineering bylaws.
Oh, well, fun. Okay. Did they
So
have
we have
anything extra?
We have a new College of Engineering.
Yeah.
And then stuff about public comment.
Wait. So can I talk a little bit about the College of Engineering, the ISU College of Engineering?
Sure.
46 miles east of here, there's another school with a kind of an older College of Engineering. It's been around for a long time. I actually don't know how long the College of Engineering
is. Over 100 years.
Over 100 years. Rick and I both have degrees from the University of Illinois College of Engineering because we're awesome. And just nary, under an hour, less than an hour away from University of Illinois is the flagship 2 University, Illinois State University, where we work, which did not until this year have a College of Engineering. And then some brainiac realized, oh, you know what? Guess what? Not everybody who applies to U of I gets into that College of Engineering. It's highly competitive. It's very competitive.
FYI, the College of Engineering at University of Illinois was established in 1868.
All right. Well, ISU was 1857. So
right, the school. I'm not. But
yeah.
Illinois, or University of Illinois. What was the university's founding? When was that? Okay,
U of I.
Yeah, but so 1867. So engineering started a year after.
Wow.
And it was the Illinois Industrial University at the time, by the way.
Illinois. Oh, I never even knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Illinois State University was started out as a teaching college, a normal university.
Yeah.
Normal teaching methods, and hence the name of the town. So that's why it didn't have engineering.
Yeah, it didn't have engineering because who needs engineering when you're a teacher?
Well, it just kind of evolved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they had it, at U of I. But so it's very competitive to get into U of I's College of Engineering. And so not everybody gets in. Like some very small percentage of applications gets in. So somebody over here decided, hey, why don't we have a College of Engineering too? I don't know why it took so long.
It actually started in a discussion in the Academic Senate Planning and Finance Committee as they were looking at, recruitment and enrollment and serving underserved populations. And one thing is that there's a huge amount, sort of search activity. Or at least this happened later, I think, is some of the things to verify, is like people would search for engineering at Illinois State University and finding out that we didn't have it. But it's also, it's not about competing or supplementing University of Illinois. It's about providing engineering education to university and students that are kind of demographic, and also peer institutions, right? So you've got the equivalent of like in Iowa and of our university in Iowa and Wisconsin and Indiana and all around, and they have engineering, right?
Yeah.
So it's to have an engineering program, on that level.
Yeah. So we have mechanical engineering here and
electrical engineering.
And electrical engineering. Yeah. And we have they're hiring the faculty right now, and I've met the faculty. They're wonderful, and the dean of the College of Engineering is fantastic. Like the people who run it are fantastic.
I believe the faculty have doubled in the past month. So they just got so they had the founding chairs and dean and but now they've actually, they've just gotten more faculty.
Yeah.
So it's
And-
doubled in size. Haven't started classes yet. Next fall.
I mean, yeah, they have to. Yeah, their inaugural class will happen in 2025 fall, right? Oh my God, that's so exciting! I can't believe it. And then what? Oh God, what was I going to say? That's just really exciting. And I remember, so they have to write curriculum, and since I'm on a curriculum committee or I'm a director or something like that, when somebody in the university writes curriculum, like writes a class or something, there's all kinds of things, the forms that they have to fill out. They have to fill out what's the class going to be like, what's the name of the class, how many hours is the class going to be, how many, like what are the outcomes, what are the student outcomes, what is the purpose of the class, what are the students going to be doing, what's the grading scale, I'm trying to think of what's like the schedule of the class, also all that stuff, right? And then is it going to be like a world studies class? Is it going to have engineering in it? All the stuff. So people from all over the university, Illinois State University, can propose classes, and then it goes through different levels of approval. So if you're you have the right flags on your I don't know, curriculum account, you get to see all the different classes that get born. So like every so often, somebody will pass a class through, some committee will pass a class through, and then all of a sudden it's like explorations in costume design, or like knife fighting, or like I don't know, adventures in history or something. And some of them are really cool, have like great names and stuff, the philosophy of this or something like that. And then one day, like, I don't know, last year, and my, a lot of times my inbox will ding, right? Ding. One day I remember last year, like my inbox went ding, 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 ding. I was like, what the hell's going on? And I look, and it's a whole bunch of curriculum forms, saying that all these it was a whole bunch of engineering classes, that somebody had, the committee had obviously gone through, and then somebody finally, okayed them all. Right. And they all went through right at the same time. And it was like, I was like, a new college is being born. It was really neat. It just sounded like a lot of dings. Ding, 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 ding. So let's talk about bells. We can talk about bells. Because I'm talking about dings and stuff. And I was thinking, where else am I hearing bells? So I started sitting with the Zen group here, with the local Zen group. And I was looking up Zen, because I'd never sat with Zen people before. I'd sat with like all the other different types of Buddhists. Like we'd sat Theravada and we'd sat Tibetan and stuff like that. But I'd never done Zen sitting. It's different. And there's bells.
So what's different?
Oh my God, it's so different. I actually had to start looking, I started last night when I couldn't sleep again because I was drinking Cokes all last night. I started looking up the differences between, just physically sitting. The group that I have sat with twice, like they sit facing the wall, which I was like, okay, you're supposed to sit right close to the wall, but where we sit, oops, I'm getting cross traffic here. Where we sit, you can't get that close to the wall, so you face away though. You face away from each other instead of everybody facing like the leader. Everybody faces away, faces a wall. And I was like, okay. And so, but when I did it, like, it was really nice. It was really cool. It was kind of, and I was thinking, why would Japanese people sit facing a wall, and maybe it's because, their houses are smaller or something. I don't know. Like maybe,
Are your eyes open?
Yep. Yeah, and I didn't realize that either. Your eyes, that makes sense too. Then you don't get distracted from other people picking their nose or something.
But you could do the same thing closing your eyes, right? Why would you have to face the wall?
Yeah. I don't know.
Because you fall asleep if you close your eyes.
Yeah.
So I got to tell my neuromuscular relaxation story.
Okay.
So I had a class in PE in high school. It was a split class, 2 sections. So the first semester was weightlifting, and second semester was neuromuscular relaxation, which was meditation, but they didn't call it that. They called it neuromuscular relaxation, and we would sit in a darkened gym on mats and kind of lie, and they teach us. Yeah, I think relaxation techniques. Boy, I barely remember, but
Because you fell asleep.
no, I didn't fall asleep. But so that was the thing, is if you fell asleep though, you'd get an F for the day. So you couldn't fall asleep. So it's just like a bunch of high school
Don't
kids.
fall asleep.
Yeah.
Valentin, open your eyes. You had to have your eyes shut though?
I think so. Yeah, and they'd hit you with a switch.
No, they would.
I just remember. All I remember is lying on a mat in the gym, and then the threat of falling asleep, like as it would be an F. And so so it was a struggle for me. I don't think I really learned how to relax.
Okay, here's my question to you. You're always like, yeah, they called it neuromuscular relaxation because they couldn't call it meditation. But you read the Bible in your high school, like as literary.
Yeah, Bible is literature.
Yeah. So why couldn't they call it meditation? Why couldn't it be meditation as practice?
Why?
Why did they have to? Why did they have to
connection?
non-religious your meditation
Is
practice?
meditation a religious word?
Well, then why did they have to call it neuromuscular meditation?
I think because
relaxation.
Because meditation sounded hippy dippy.
Well, Bible sounds Christian.
Right, and so it was Bible as literature, and we all had permission slips that we had to bring home, and our parents had to sign saying that it was okay for us to read the Bible.
That's nuts.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
It's not nuts, actually.
We talk about this once a year. Well, yeah, pretty soon it'll be required reading, so that's good.
But I mean, there is. I think there's a pretty strong argument that regardless of your religion, the Bible is an important piece of literature.
Oh, here we go.
Whether or not it's good or bad, and whether or not it's true or not, it's a very important piece of literature that has affected society for centuries.
And so
millennia.
Let me ask you a question then. Is there a problem with our future president selling them to people?
No. I mean, if you're living in a free market capitalist state, of course, there's nothing wrong with it.
With him selling Bibles. I like that.
I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I would say, I would question, if people of faith, would say, well, why are you making a profit off of this religious text? I mean, I would think maybe there would be a question there, right?
Well, it's to keep him out of jail so he can tamp down the rest of abortion rights. But we're getting ahead of ourselves here. Joe Chrisman says there's quite a lag on my end. I just updated to iOS 18. Larry says I seem to recall last summer you both were talking about building a share library in your yard. Did you ever get around to it? No.
A what?
Share library?
Oh, like a little library, whatever it's called.
I think that would have been me talking about it because Rick would have had to do it.
Yeah, there's no we in that, or you. Both. Yeah, no.
Did you, though, Larry? You can let us know. And then Joe Chrisman says, our parents had us stand in corners, which...
yeah.
For
punishment.
For meditation? Or
no,
okay.
Oh, punishment, right? Go stand in the corner.
Yeah.
Dunce cap.
Is this about, is this in reference, though, to talking about meditation?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
Like you're sitting and meditating facing a wall.
Oh, and then standing in a corner.
As a child, some of us would be sent to a corner, and you'd have to stand in the corner staring at the wall as punishment.
Oh, and so, but Zen meditators do that like on purpose.
That's right. They punish themselves on purpose.
So,
So talk about it. I guess.
Yeah. I have like the Bible I have the sheets that I probably shouldn't be talking about.
Get some Pepto-Bismol.
Yeah, shut up. I was looking up Zen like service, and okay, so this is interesting because there's they the group that I was sitting in, like I think emanates from like Iowa somewhere, I'm not sure, but there's like so, and they chant in English, which I'd never done. I'd chanted in Tibetan and in I think we most of the time we would chant in Tibetan or Sanskrit or Pali, But see, and it's been so long, I don't remember. But to chant like this stuff that, like all the Buddhist chants that, you're used to having read, but to do it in English was really I'm going to talk about this. My old Taekwondo teacher used to, we would walk into the room. We'd be like, "Anya Hashimnika, sir," like good afternoon, sir. And then people would say back, and you'd say that to each other and stuff. And I stopped going for a long time, and then I came back to visit, and people were saying, "Good afternoon, sir," like in English. And I was like, "Why are they saying that? What are they? They can't figure out how to say it in Korean." And then he said, "No, it's cultural appropriation to say it in a different language." And I was like, I had like a giant question mark over my head, and I had to process that for a long time. But I processed it for a long time. But he had also answered that if I have kids saying this in Korean, that's not what we're trying to get them to say good, to greet their parents. And I've talked about this on RadioZero too. They're trying to get people to greet their parents, and they're not going to say it in Korean because their parents are not Korean. So you walk into a room and you say, "Good afternoon, Mom and Dad." So good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, teachers. Good afternoon, everybody. And then I was like, yeah, it took me a little while because I liked knowing a different language because I was, learning a different art from somewhere else. But that was really cool too. So anyway, I thought about that while I was chanting in English, chanting there's no this, there is something this, there's not this, there is this, all the different Buddhist vows. And it was really cool to chant it, to say it in English, because it actually meant something to me, for real, it connected with. I had a couple of experiences this week actually with connecting to kind of my brain differently. So that was something. And then also the way it's written, there are little dots and little symbols inside the English words. There's a little circle with a dot. And then there's another, there are triangles and stuff interspersed in there, underneath it. And those are for the different bells. So you'll see a little circle underneath one of the syllables, and I was like, what is that? And then I realized as we're chanting, oh my God, that's the bell. The person who's in charge is ringing a bell at that time. That was really cool. And then there's the person who leads it also. There's a little, what is that, square root sign in some of the English area. It might also be different language too, but there's a little square root sign, and when they get to it, they go like that. They sing the note. It's like a note. Huh. So it reminded me of Hebrew too. When you're learning Hebrew, sometimes there's notes in the Hebrew. So I thought that was really cool. Okay, the only other thing I'm going to say is that in my capoeira class this week, I got to go to the advanced class. I was very excited. And in that class, our teacher had us singing along. We've had to, I always talk about this. Oh, we had to sing along at the same time that they were telling us to do all these movements. Do this movement, then this, then this, then this. And he wanted us to sing along with the words. And I was like, this is so hard. It was amazing. It was such a challenge to have to sing in a different language at the same time that you're being given instruction on movements, like a series of movements you needed to do, but you needed to sing at the same time. Imagine how hard that would be. That was what was expected of us. So this time, and that it was one of my favorite moments ever in a capoeira class, and it happened 10 or 15 years ago. But this time we were to sing, not sing the words, we were to sing the rhythm along while we were doing the movements. And I know all the words to all the songs that we always listen to. It was I know all the words and I can sing along while I'm doing all the movements. But to sing the rhythm was nearly impossible. And the rhythm has got a arenga. It's got a, you can, what is it called when you can improvise to it. You ding dong dong, ding dong dong, ding dong dong dong, ding dong dong. You can do that. You can play. You can do all kinds of the different modifications to the beat, kind of. So we were supposed to do that while we were moving, and it was so different than singing the words while I was doing the movement. I was like, oh my God, wow, this is crazy. So the words are stored in a different area in your brain probably than the rhythm.
In your brain?
Or in my brain, yeah.
No, yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah, so like bells, rhythm, that's our theme today, Rick. What do you have to say about it all? or you don't have, like, you think about it. I'll read Larry's notes. His no, I didn't, maybe next year. Okay, so that's probably with the share library. And then Larry says, my grandmother was a Jehovah's Witness. She bought me a picture Bible when I was 10. I had absolutely no interest in reading it. One day, I took it in the bathroom, with me because I didn't have anything else handy to read. I actually found the stories interesting, but that is as far as I went with it. Thank you, Larry, for sharing that.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, that's nice.
It's a page turner.
Yeah, I've never actually read the Bible in English.
Yeah, and I don't know how much of it I read. I'm trying to think. I think it was just like a unit. Like when it was the later class, like reading Moby Dick, but we didn't have to read the whole book. Like
show off.
The teacher gave us excerpts.
Wait.
I read everything.
Wait.
I read the whole book.
Was it
like,
the New Testament or the Old Testament?
Of Moby Dick?
Yeah.
No, of the Bible. I think it was both.
Isn't it long? Is it long?
It is long. So that's what I have no memory. I just remember the assignment and the phrase, Bible is literature. You know, and I have no memory.
I'll bet it was shut down and you don't remember it.
No.
Bet, like,
I would remember that.
Yeah.
That would have been exciting.
No,
but
I doubt it.
Yeah.
It was shut down and you weren't told.
No.
We're not going to have a test on this, kids.
No.
We're moving on to Moby Dick now.
Nope. We definitely had a unit in freshman English.
Ooh, there's
Bible is literature.
There's a whole bunch of emojis just popped up, and like there was one angry face. I don't know what happened. Man, okay. Oh yeah, Larry says it's better with pictures. I may not have read that before.
With pictures, yeah. Yeah.
So, what do you have this week? What do you got?
I got nothing, man. I can't even remember the last hour. Trying to look through, and I tried to go sometimes I'll attempt to go onto like Wikipedia or something and look at the news for like the past 2 weeks, and because I don't have my pile of newspapers anymore that I can leaf through, or magazines, and so and yeah, I tried to go on Wikipedia and look at and go back, and I couldn't, and then I saw Wiki News and I tried to go there, and it's like, oh, look at the archives, and so I hit look at the archives, and then it said, okay, let's see what happened on September 14th. So I click on September 14th, and it's just a blank date page.
Redacted?
Like the actual Wiki News front page or whatever isn't archived, or I couldn't find it. So I was a little frustrated. I need to find a resource where I can kind of step through and look at the previous week or two's like top news stories, as opposed to just my program, right, which is just I should look at what it is, the top 2 news words. It's been a while since I looked at that. Yeah,
Rick wrote a program a long. You wrote it when you were in college, right? A million years ago, 2020 whatever.
Not 2020.
2001 or something like that. But top 2 news words, which like aggregates, like it counts up, he's got a bunch of news sources, and then it counts up what the top 2 new repeated news words are. Don't tell me what it is. I'm going to guess it's Trump and Gaza or something like that. There's probably a fair amount of Trump and Gaza. Yeah, that's my guess.
I did look at it a while ago, and it was it was Trump Harris.
Oh, Trump Harris. She made it on.
But let's see where it's at now.
And then and he goes
Trump Harris.
Trump Harris. Oh, okay. All right. You've got to update your. You should have like a couple of different aggregators. Not like you have like a source. You have a bunch of sources.
Yeah.
And
I'm letting it degrade. I like the idea of it degrading over the years. Well, ooh, there's been a Trump Biden recently. Ooh, there's been a Harris Trump. So Harris.
Ooh.
Yeah, there are a few Harris Trumps.
Yeah, so they're in order of frequency, and so Trump, Harris, and then you surmised during the last election that you had a couple of ones where Trump wasn't the first, he was the second, and you were thinking that maybe that let us know something, but...
Well, I think I can't remember what happened, but there was for the first couple of elections, it would be whoever was first in the list became president, but then something happened. I think was it that Trump was still number one in 2020. It was Trump Biden, but then Biden won.
See, somebody should interview you again about that, because that's I think that's important. So
I think it's old. It's old news.
Yeah, no, it's well. So Kevin Dunham is asking, Rose, how was meeting Bob Mould?
Yeah, why don't you talk about that?
Yeah. Can I talk about how? Do you remember like you and I went to a Husker Du concert? Was that before we were going out?
Which one? I went to a number of
the one that you
Husker
went
Du
to
concerts.
with me.
Well, I don't remember which.
Okay, it was at the Metro, and I don't
at the
think
Metro.
we were.
So that was the one that Soul Asylum was late, and then So Soul Asylum was supposed to open.
Oh, possibly.
And then they
they
left
played afterwards.
Minneapolis late or something, and so they showed up after Husker Du just decided, okay, we'll play, and then when Soul Asylum shows up, they'll play. So it must have been that I think that was at the Metro.
Okay. I remember standing in front of you, and like I kind of backed up, and I kind of felt your chest against my back.
Oh my gosh!
And I
that seems inappropriate.
It was totally inappropriate, and I stepped near your foot, and I was like, because I was already kind of into you. That's what I think. I feel like I don't know. Maybe we came home and that was the day that like I got to touch your hand in your glove. Like we had gloved hands, and then we held our hands together because we weren't gonna touch each other because we weren't going out yet. And then we both looked up, and then there was a shooting star. There was a moon was right here, and the shooting star went right into it.
Yeah, so I just did a search. There, Husker Du Metro 1986 January 12th. So that actually is that the timeline? That's
totally.
Because we started
yeah.
Was it 86 though?
Yeah. Was that 86?
Oh, here it is. Yeah, 86. Yeah, January 12th. Soul Asylum opened for Husker Du in quotes. It doesn't say that, but I'm pretty sure that is what happened.
Can you look and see if there was a celestial event that day too, like a shooting star?
Always shooting stars.
This is great. Like I wanted to tell Bob Mould this, but what's he going to care about that? He's not going to care about that. But I was thinking about all this, and I was like, well, this isn't the stuff I can talk to him about. I brought my Bob Mould book by Michael Azerrad. I love that book.
Co-written.
Co-written. I'm not a huge let's read rock stars bios person. Like I liked what's her name, Kim Gordon's. I liked it because it's Kim Gordon, But Bob Mould's, I just loved it. I loved it. And I don't remember any of it. I just remember, Kevin Dunham is saying great book because I could hear it in his voice. Oh, blah, blah, blah,
singing.
I could hear him singing it. I love his voice. I just love him. So I was so excited, and I'm sorry, I like Dean Wareham's voice too. Like, does he sing? Did he sing? Hey, good to see you.
Oh yeah. Dean Wareham is the singer. Yes.
7 hours away. I love that song, the Galaxy 500 song too. I like, that's fantastic. But like Husker Du, so the night and I agreed to do this. I agreed to do this panel for Pygmalion. I think originally Lisa Gottheil ran this panel. And it was in honor of Josh Gottheil, who he's the first person mentioned in my book. He's the first footnote because he's the first, he had the first shows that I saw and that changed my life and everything like that. So I wanted to honor him. So, and I've talked about this. You can read it in my book. But so
So I'm curious, when you read your book, is it in Bob Mould's voice also?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And I can't wait to read my book in Bob Mould's voice, which I need to do. I'm making an audio book of my book. But anyway, so, she was like, I'm going to get together all these stars. Like, I'm going to get, for her first, she was going to get Steve Albini, and I can't remember who, like Kim from the Breeders. And like, she had this idea, and you, Rose, and I was like, why are they going to be in a panel with me? But okay, I would love that. I would love to be near all these people.
It's possible you would be on a panel with them.
Yeah, exactly. Right, exactly. I was just like, I'd watch the panel, but yeah, and I didn't want to be like too demure and be like, I'm so not worthy of being on a panel with these people. So I just tried out my like, yes, I'd love to do that. And then, we all know what happened. Steve is gone. But she put this together, this panel, and it was about corporate control. Was it corporate control of touring, the touring industry now? Which I was like, well, I don't know a whole lot about that, but I'll research it, And the other guys, and so Dean Wareham is on it. God, what's the guy's name who runs NEVA? The guy who runs NEVA, he was the moderator, and I should know. Can you look up what that Pygmalion? He was, oh God, he was amazing. This guy. But anyway, okay, so we had like, and the night before they sent the questions, and they're like, the questions for Bob and for Dean are like, what's it like touring now? And my question was like, how have like Spotify and Live Nation and the other monopoly part of Live Nation, like, leveraged technology lately in order to seize control of touring and like everything else, and I'm just like, what? How am I going to know the answer to that? So like I did a bunch of research, and I wrote like here.
What? Oh,
I'm pulling out my notes. I have 2 pages of notes here, and I'll show them. Like I'm holding a giant notepad here. I just took notes, and I was like, well, I'm just going to show up with this giant notepad of notes. So how are Spotify, Apple, and Live Nation? What's the other part of Live Nation that's being sued? The other part of Live Nation that's being sued, okay? How are they leveraging technology? So using data-driven algorithms, that drive all the decision-making, that propose new music to you, and so on, right? The last thing on here is blockchain tickets, which, have been around apparently for 2 years. So I have all these notes that I was waiting to deliver, and I got to deliver it, and I looked okay. I didn't look like a moron. But the one thing that I was, I'm like terrified that I'm going to look like a moron in front of these people, because this is not my, as they say, wheelhouse, right? Not teaching music business right now, teaching JavaScript.
Andre Perry is.
Thank you. Oh yeah, Andre Perry was the moderator. So anyway. Wait, where was I going with all this? Yeah, so the panel started, and Bob Mould, I think, was the one thing that struck me was Bob Mould just talking about, well, you'd go to, I can't imitate his voice, that you'd go to, you'd be on tour, you'd stop, in the town, and then you'd go walking around, and you'd see like the skateboard shop, and you'd know, as you were walking, that there's probably a record store nearby here, and so you'd keep going until you'd find the record store, and was on foot, walking around the town and talking to people and stuff like that. And so, when I started talking, I like tried the thing where you talk, remember we're trying to slow ourselves down, you and me? Right? So I was like, I took a long pause, and I said, like, I'm struck by how different, when Bob talked, I'm good at like saying, like connecting something that somebody else said to what I'm about to say. That's the one thing I seem to be able to do. So and I was really happy about that. And I was just talking about how different that is than the algorithms, telling you like, oh, well, if you like this, you probably like this. You're walking around in a town and you're like, oh, I see a skateboard store. I will walk even more, and then I'll find a record store, and then I will walk around and touch the albums and stuff. But if you're looking online and algorithms are delivering what your music choices are. Probably if you've bought a skateboard recently, they're going to know that you're probably going to want to listen to, whatever skateboard people want to listen to right now. So it's kind of the same thing. I was like, oh, I'm just making an argument with myself. So
it was interesting that the idea of restricting social media for kids, but then also there's this sort of undercurrent that's going on with some legislation or theme where not providing algorithmically curated content to teens. Like they need to only see sort of real time,
what they've chosen.
Feeds. Not what they've chosen. So not algorithmically, not algorithmic feeds. Like the old days, right? Do you remember the earliest days of social media where you would just see like a reverse timeline of posts from your friends?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Whereas now it's all algorithmically curated, right? It's you don't see like
yes.
I get likes on posts from, a month ago.
Yeah.
And it's depends on when when it's been delivered to them, put into their feed. So that idea of digital curation, right? But
that whole thing with the teens, like it was interesting. We talked about this too, probably the hard fork guys, like having like differing opinions on what, whether or not kids should be allowed to use social media, because, there's the one argument that the social media makes you just completely freaked out about yourself, and waiting for more likes and, other people bullying you. And then the other thing is you're able to connect with freaks, like with other people and stuff like that, which I feel like I read about that in Bob Mould's book, him talking about looking for his people, right? Oh no, that's another person's book. Never mind. Sorry. But I think he wrote about it too. Maybe I'm wrong.
It's not a
right.
radical.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been a concept since the earliest days of like Usenet and
Larry says everything Bob Mould is cool. I just listened to Copper Blue by Sugar today, and I got Kevin Dunham is saying, Elizabeth Foster is waiting for my audiobook, I think, or Bob Mould's. I'd be waiting for his book. So we had like this practice session. We went downstairs and Seth was there, Seth Fine, who runs Pygmalion, and just kind of was shooting the shit with all of us beforehand. I can't remember. Oh yeah. And like just trying to bring us all into, understanding each other and being friends. And I was like sitting there like, Bob Mould is right there. Oh my God. And Dean Wareham is right here too. Oh my God. And all these people. Oh my God. Like I was yeah. So we talked for a little while there. Then we went upstairs and did our panel. And I was a little embarrassed because, like U of I Press, like Michael Rue, like had my books set up kind of in Granite too. Like,
nice.
I was like, oh my God, other people's books are not here. Oh, it's kind of embarrassing. But mine just came out, kind of, yeah.
And also it's U of I Press and and
then we're in U of I, right? Yeah, exactly. Oh, the other thing I noticed, Bob was talking about walking around and stuff. And, like I said, and he was like, well, he was talking about clubs being put up in areas, that, like areas that were downtrodden and stuff like that, and that just being the precursor to like gentrification, or there was a discussion about that, and and then that's not part of this discussion, and I'm like, you're at U of I right now, where the Department of Urban Planning and the landscape architecture and architecture are all part of the College of Fine and Applied Arts. So it totally makes sense to talk about that. And then Bob Mould was like, my major in school was urban planning. They didn't have that major, so they had to devise it for me. And I don't think he used the word devise, but I was like, Bob Mould is into urban planning. And then I was like looking at his songs, and it's like Divide and Conquer, like all the songs are like, all the songs have urban planning in them. Songs that I like, from Flip Your Wig. So, Elizabeth, yeah, I will certainly read my book in my voice and not imitate Bob Mould, unless I'm talking about Bob Mould. So after we had the panel, I went up to him. Like people were like kind of milling around. I went up to him and I took his book out of my backpack and I was like, "Will you sign this, please?" So it turns out he's like as dorky as I am, kind of. No offense, Bob Mould. Like but we both like kind of skipped away from him. We were like, "Oh, thanks. Oh, cool." Like we're both like that. He's like really quiet and like really, it seems really quiet and humble, except when he's singing. So that's what reminded me of you, like you're kind of like that too. Like you're a quiet person, but like you get on the stage and are screaming and stuff, right? So I just thought, like, I didn't expect him to be that quiet and humble, and just like kind of like, "Oh, thanks," and like shruggy and stuff. Oh man, I just loved him, and he was, yeah, it was great. And then later on, I got to see him perform, and so he had electric guitar and he sang all his songs, and he sang songs from, Flip Your Wig, and he sang songs from, he sang like Newest Industry, I think he sang that. And I found myself, and Kevin Hamilton, my beloved professor, was there too. And that was really neat because Kevin's so much younger than us and still knows Husker Du songs. But I was like shouting the words. I think I know all the words to all Husker Du songs, which is really weird. Like I don't know words to songs, but yet I know all the words to those songs.
Those were important records.
God. And you don't think about it. Bob Mould, not a sponsor. That's what Joe Chrisman is saying. This is just all about how awesome Bob Mould is. And Dean Wareham was really, really nice too.
Yeah, and I remember talking to him. I need to remember the name of the New Zealand band that we played with.
It's
at
like
Knitting
something
Factory.
Head. It's Captain's Head or something like that. We play with them at the Knitting Factory.
Yeah, and so we met him. Really early. Yeah, like
you were
89, 90.
He didn't remember me at all. I was Salaryman, and he was like, "Oh yeah," It's been, and so Salaryman played with Luna a couple of shows. That would have been, 25 years ago. Yeah, the expectation that anyone would remember. Well, I think he remembered. See, now if you were there, you could have talked to him, but I know you were chaperoning 5 bachelors to their
homecoming.
Homecoming, that was good. All right, so what else did I say about Bob Mould? I probably wrote notes about him. I just love him. People were standing in front of him like shouting the words and pointing at him and stuff, and I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. I just had such a good time at Pygmalion Fest too. Yeah.
No one threw a bottle.
No one threw. Did somebody throw? Then I remembered. Yeah, I remembered like the apology tour, right?
It was one of the last Husker Du shows.
Yeah, I don't count that.
Yeah.
But
so I'm trying to think of all the times.
We were talking about playing. Yeah, he was saying that it was one
Maples.
of the last shows, and I was like, all I could put out was I think Dinosaur had one of their last shows here too. Sorry.
Yeah, the original line. Yeah, that's true.
Champagne,
it was
scene.
like second. It was So I think it was the second to last Husker Du show. Yeah, and somebody had thrown it. So they did the apology tour because they did that warehouse tour, and they had played at U of I. They had played at Follinger, the big auditorium, and they had played 3 sides of the record, right?
And drank water in between. I did not bring this up to him.
No. But I've seen interviews where it was like, not my idea, But they played the records or the 3 sides of Warehouse, and then they played some oldies. It wasn't so great. It was. Well, I would say it was the worst Husker Du show I saw, but they were always great. But then they came back. They did that final tour and they played Mabel's, and it was. I don't think they called it the apology tour, did they? But it was intense. That last show at Mabel's, and then somebody threw a bottle. People were out of control. It was super sweaty.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And but that's what the Cubby Bear show I saw was like too. But it was like So what would that have been, like 3 years later? It was like towards the end of the band, and somebody threw a bottle, and then he broke the bottle.
He broke the bottle and like threatened, like,
but,
didn't he, like, who?
Yeah, it was like, you only get two eyes, or something, and it's like, shouldn't throw bottles and stuff. So it was super intense, but it was great. Like it was obvious that it was the end. And that's what the record's called, right? The live record's called the live. What is it? What's the live
Living End or something
is it called
like that?
Yeah.
Were they already signed? Were they already?
Oh yeah, Warehouse
okay,
was
no,
on,
that's right.
and
Warner
Candy
Brothers,
Apple
right?
Grey was on Warner Brothers.
Well, we were label mates, right? Were they on side? No,
they were on just Warner, straight Warner.
Kevin is saying that's awesome. Thank you for sharing. Totally agree. The show was a wonderful mix of tunes from across his career. It was. I mean, he's going to come back. He's going to go back around on tour in 2025. And he's like, "Oh, wait to see what happens." And I'm gonna go. Like I'm just.
Didn't he just play here?
Probably
he played in Bloomington, right? He played at the Castle.
So this is what I was thinking. Well, I was watching people who I've known for more than half my life, like singing the songs with him. Like Chris Green was there, Ward was there, like people from the Champaign scene, right? Sorry, all the parents of all the poor children who are going to ISU, who like feel, like they're like the survivors of the Champaign scene, right? But all the parents were there, and everybody was singing, and just like kind of celebrating being together with a guy singing in front of us. It wasn't like it was part of the atmosphere, I thought, like, and that's when I was like, oh, Poster Children should play some more shows, just because people are not going to see you, they are kind of going to see you perform, but they're also going to be in the space with the other people where they felt safe and where they felt part of something. And that this reminds them that, like, oh, these are my safe people, I built this, I'm part of this
community.
Oh yeah, it's community. So what was I gonna say about? There was something else too about Bob Mould. There was some other thing that I had to say. Oh yeah, before he went on the stage, like, I don't know, sometime after the panel or something, he was talking to some of our students too from ISU. Oh my God, it was so cool. But he was like, I'm going to get really political on the stage. You guys watch out because I'm getting really political. And I was like, okay, I want you to get really political. And so that he was like, I'm going to save it for the stage. He may have even alluded to it in the panel. I won't get political here. And so, like, on the stage, he's like, I'm going to get political now. Who saw the debate? I think he said that or something. Or he said that in the panel. I can't remember, but he says, who saw the debate? And people were like, woo. He was like, yeah. I was like, dude, get political. That's not political. That's like politest political I've
observational.
Observational, yeah. And then somebody yelled, "Are you going to play at the inauguration?" And he said, "If Tim wants me to." And then I was like, "Oh, he probably knows Tim." And then there's a guy walking around with the same shirt that you have, Harris Waltz, but in the Husker Du logo. And I was like, "Oh wait, they're from Minneapolis too."
But as you remember, did Soul Asylum play the inauguration, or just Dave Perner was at the White House with Clinton and Winona Ryder, right?
Yeah,
I remember that being
Winona Ryder thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh yeah. Blame Winona.
I will. So what was the other thing I was going to say about, like, oh God. And then he was like, I think it was his anniversary. He said something about his husband and he had gotten married or something like that. And he was like, applause. And people were like, and he's like, come on, applaud louder, or my husband's going to be angry at me or something. And I was like, why aren't people, people aren't applauding more because it's just like a normal thing that you got married or something. I don't know. Like, nobody's like against gay marriage, I don't think. Like, especially in that room. It was just like, I don't know. I wanted him to get political or
right.
Oh, Kevin says played in Schaumburg, which was weird. I'm sure it was weird. And then says he told stories about hanging with Jello Biafra in San Francisco, and their first trip was into the city, which was cool. Yeah, that's like in his book, I think. I feel like that's in his book. Anyway, I love him. As they say, I love him. I can't wait to meet him. And then I waited for him to finish his show so I could go congratulate him. And there were like two guys hanging out too. Like, is he still in there? Is he still in there? And I'm like, and the rest, everybody's just hanging around. Like, it's all the champagne scenesters hanging around the bar. And I was waiting for him. And then he came out and he's like, oh, it's you. Hi. And I was like, oh, Bob. I hugged him and he's like, oh, I'm all sweaty. And I'm like, I remember like trying to stand underneath him at that show, like one of the shows, trying to get his sweat on me. Right. Like I would do that with you too. But like, I got Bob Mould's sweat on me. I got to hug him. And then me and a bunch of other professors went outside and screamed at each other for a while about things, about politics in academia. And then I went home. It was so much fun. Yeah. And I didn't go to the American Football House. I drove past the American Football House and looked at it. And there was a guy next door walking his dog. And then I think somebody, and I can't remember if it was Kevin, Kevin lived next door to the American Football House. Right? It's right next door. It's like on High Street. And then I talked to somebody about the American Football House, and they were like, yeah, I don't know what that is. And I was like, yeah, I don't really know either. But then people were like, oh, the American Football House.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely iconic.
It's an Airbnb now.
Yes. Yes, it's Airbnb owned by Polyvinyl and the photographer. And I'm trying to remember, I heard an interview they had on the local
it was on,
regional
NPR.
Illinois NPR thing. And yeah, it's a group of people associated with the record.
And there's some kind of critique about that too, which led to our urban planning discussion. And I wasn't sure what the critique was about. Seth was like, well, and I was like, I don't know. What are you talking about? And then he had to leave to go to the American Football House. And then I looked up the Airbnb for the American Football House, and because I thought, oh, maybe we should stay there. And then I decided it was way too expensive, and that's probably what the critique is.
Yeah, actually, I mean, keeping a house like that, instead of getting it bulldozed, right?
Yeah.
It must probably cost a pretty penny. Relatively speaking, it's college town expense.
It's right on High Street, and it's like over $200 a night to stay there.
Yeah.
But it's a house, yeah.
Also, it's 2024. Rose.
I keep forgetting that my fucking McDonald's is okay. Head Like a Hole is the band. It is not. It's not Head Like a Hole.
What are we talking
Larry
about?
Is saying Larry thinks that's the band from New Zealand. No, it was somebody's head. I'll bet it's in my tour reports, because I was like, why are these people so stupid? Because I thought they were stupid.
They were just drunk. They
were drunk.
They were partying.
They were that's because they wouldn't move. It was like Christopher's head or something.
No. It
How is
did
it
have
not
an S.
in
I'll look it up, but we should wrap it up.
Oh, wrap it up.
Let me see if they're let me look under S here. Still looking.
Oh, I can talk. I can keep talking.
Straight Jacket Fits.
That's it. I knew it had the word head in it. Okay, here's the thing. I knew that the last word was a 4-letter word that wasn't a swear word. Fits and head, same thing.
I'm looking up when it would have been. Oh yeah, so they toured. It looks like 1990. It would have been.
The thing about playing the Knitting Factory was that fucking piano on the stage.
This was the other Knitting Factory. This was before the piano Knitting Factory. So this was the one that was tinier.
Yeah, the stage
or maybe
was
it wasn't
small.
even the Knitting Factory. It was a tinier space. I remember it wasn't the classic Knitting Factory with the piano on stage. Yeah, I think there was an earlier Knitting Factory.
There's like knitting factories all. It's like a chain now, isn't it? It's like I'm trying to. It's like Quiznos, Knitting Factory, knitting like.
Yeah, exactly. You really are good at connecting things together.
Heidi says the best to you both. Oh my God, I love you so much, Heidi. Yeah, we have to play with them too.
Yeah, okay.
Heidi, let's play together.
Yeah, this is what it was.
Okay, what?
The original location was 47 East Houston Street near CBGB and within walking distance of the Bottom Line. Yeah. it was founded as an art gallery and performance space and cafe. Yeah, so that's what
why
I
it's
remember.
Too small.
Oh,
yeah.
oh, maybe then. Oh, yeah. And then 74 Leonard Street, which featured a much larger main hall that generally showcased independent rock. Yeah. So, yeah, that early location was the tinier gallery space.
The original Quiznos.
The original Quiznos.
Not a
I think you
sponsor.
mean Potbelly, right?
No, I don't mean. No, I mean Quiznos.
Okay.
Potbelly is. Wait, okay. So there's a Fillmore. There's Fillmores all over the place too,
Yeah.
right? That's like that's your Chipotle. Fillmore. The Fillmore is Chipotle. Okay. Like when we played the Fillmore in San Francisco, I really enjoyed the beautiful chandeliers, but I didn't like the loadout in the employees loaded us out, threw all our stuff in the elevator, went down to the ground floor of like San Francisco, which I don't like San Francisco anyway. Although I like parts of it. Okay, all right, I like parts of it, but the Fillmore, I didn't enjoy the Fillmore playing experience.
No, it was a weird vibe.
Yeah, really weird vibe. But there's Fillmores all over the place. Oh,
Poison. It still, even though there were cool bands playing, it was like the crew had a Poison hippie vibe.
Yes,
like it definitely had that Poison hippie vibe. I just have to talk about Potbelly. Always, if Potbelly comes up, and I brought it up, I know. But if you watch the 1979, 1980 film Thief. James Caan and Tuesday Weld, eat at a diner, and then they have this whole scene together, and then they walk out of the diner, and the original Potbelly is behind them. So the original Potbelly is in Thief.
Music by Tangerine Dream.
That's right.
I don't know any Beatles songs, but I know that Tangerine Dream did the soundtrack to Thief because I've seen the record somewhere and I have that. That's what I can memorize is a record cover.
This is an opportunity to promote the podcast Tangerine Jim, which is a podcast just about Tangerine Dream soundtracks, and the host just talks about the cover art and then maybe the movie, but does not talk about the music.
Is that your brother?
Doesn't really like Tangerine Dream's music. But
is that for real?
Yeah, it's a real podcast.
Is that your brother?
Look for it. No, it's Tangerine Jim. Look for the podcast. Search your podcast apps for Tangerine Jim.
Is that you?
Nope. All right.
What the hell?
It's a crossover joke.
Oh,
that'll
I get
come
it.
up
Okay.
later.
Oh, all right.
think.
All right. Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, stay tuned. Not in our podcast, though.
No, I don't think so.
In Lost, Found, and Rewound. Not a sponsor.